Hello, 1, 2, 3. Okay, can people hear me now? I feel like I'm seeing a little green dot. I'm feeling like that means people should be able to hear me, but I believe it is. Is it let's go? I think I know who's going to tell me in a second if I'm not. Okay, I'm seeing the green dot, so I'm going to go ahead and go. Yesterday I was very worried. I didn't think I was going to have anything to talk about. Nope, no sound again. Wait, are you sure there's no sound? Are you sure there's no sound? Because I am seeing the green. I would say try turning up your sound because I am getting sound on my end at least. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. Cool. Okay. Thank you. I was about to turn this thing off and just say, I'll see you guys in a few hours, Al. But no, if we've got sound, we are all good. Thank you very much, Hunter Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Thank you. That's very nice of you. I was worried yesterday. I didn't think I was going to have anything to talk about at all because it's just been a slow week. The strike ended up not happening. If the strike does happen, then it's going to take a long time in order for that process to come back around and happen. IATSE's kind of structured the same way that John Deere is with the way their unions work. So John Deere went through a long process to get a strike to happen. And so probably not going to happen now, but I'll go through all the details as to what happened. And the really big news of what happened last time. Oh, wait, hold on here. Let me check. I'm going to check this right now just to make sure that there actually is sound. I'm not totally sure. Here, let's see. Hold on. Yep. See, I've got sound. Okay, cool. So the Alec Baldwin shooting. Let's get into it. It is it's unfortunate of what's going on, but let's get just into the details of what we know for sure. Alec Baldwin is starring and producing a movie called Rust. And the movie is about Baldwin is playing an outlaw called Harlan Rust, whose grandson is convicted of it's not accidentally murdering someone. So the incident happened in the middle of a scene that was being either rehearsed or filmed. No confirmation on that yet. The victim's Hutchins. She was based in Los Angeles, graduated from AFI in 2015. She was named one of the American Cinematographer's Rising Stars in 2019. Someone that knew her says that she grew up on a Soviet military base where there was not much to do but watch movies. So she fell in love with movies at a young age and made a name for herself in genre movies. She was known for action, horror. And yeah, this is a very devastating loss, particularly in the cinematography community. There's been a lot of love coming out from there. But the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office said that it happened during a scene. And Alec Baldwin was given a prop gun and he fired it. Was it loaded with a live round? Some people have said so, but that has not been confirmed. Someone told IATSE that there was a live round, and they said that because the amount of damage that happened to Hutchins and Souza, the director, Joel Souza, who is now out of the hospital, but he was suffering from critical injuries. And this was the second movie that Alec Baldwin had produced with him. So they collaborated. They had worked together before. Let's see. IATSE, the union, is also saying that people that were in charge of props, set decorations, and special effects and construction departments, they were all non-union. I don't know if they were saying that because they want to cover themselves for liability, saying this accident wasn't caused by one of our members. I also don't know if they're saying that because they look down on productions that don't use union people throughout. I think that's a stupid rule, but we'll get to the accountability thing in just a second. But according to sources close to the event, the union local believes that there was a live single round in the prop gun because of the amount of damage. I guess we already went through that. This is not the first time there's been fatal on-set gun incidences in Hollywood. You had Brandon Lee in The Crow. You had John Eric Hexum, I apologize if I'm not saying that correctly, in 1984 on a CBS TV series called Cover Up. They also suffered gunshot wounds that ended up killing them while on set as well. The biggest thing in this, I think, is what is the level of responsibility? Who is responsible in this shooting? I think it all comes down to percentages. We don't know. When I first heard this last night, obviously my first thought was Alec Baldwin lost his mind and went on a shooting spree. That's before you know any information, before you read anything. And so whenever I opened up the story, you can see that there's some type of accident that's going on here. Who's responsible for it, though? I don't know. The questions I think we have to ask, and an investigation started this morning, and the cops are saying they still have a long way to go to answer any questions. What are the requirements in production when it comes to hiring a union prop master? If this person was not in the union, then I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's going to change what the union is looking at. The responsibility for Alec Baldwin. There was a trend. There was a hashtag that was trending earlier today called "Put Alec Baldwin in" or "Alec Baldwin in prison," which is not really fair to Alec Baldwin. I get it because most people that are using that hashtag are saying if there was another actor that was as outspoken as Alec Baldwin is in another part of the vocal spectrum, they would without a doubt there'd be a petition out there right now. So I understand the anger in that Alec Baldwin is not in the past been afraid of making enemies. But I think the bigger thing with this issue that's going on is the issue of burnout. I'm again saying I don't know whose fault this was. Actually, before talking about burnout, I would say that just for anyone that's ever involved in anything that is requiring using a firearm, even a fake firearm, this is coming from someone who grew up in southern Louisiana. If you are ever around a gun, you know for certain, whether it's a shooting range, whether you're hunting, what anything, if it's a real gun, if it is a fake gun, you never ever point it at anyone is the first rule. Okay. But if you're in a situation, you're using a prop gun, something like this, you're in a situation where you can't be that careful or it requires you to not be that careful, then you empty the chamber no matter what and you check to see what is going on. And I'm saying this because people are saying they don't know if it's a live round or if it was a blank. That's part of the investigation. And you can absolutely tell the difference between a blank and you can tell the difference between an actual bullet. So it's going to pass from the prop master down to one person who gives it to Alec Baldwin. I would say if we talk about responsibility, Alec Baldwin had at least 5% responsibility to check those rounds. The person before him had responsibility. The person before him had responsibility. They all had that level of responsibility. So to some degree, this does not sound like murder. There's investigation, like I said, but if you're given a gun with rounds in it, you check the rounds. That is just basic shit. But then getting on to burnout. If this investigation does end up showing that somebody on the crew was working long hours, and we're talking 20 hours for upwards of 6 days a week. If someone like that was in charge of the bullets, if someone like that was in charge of making sure that the round got to Alec Baldwin, if Alec Baldwin was working things like that, it's an indie production. Actors give up a lot of their time to go extra miles for indie productions like this, especially if they're producers. If there was a level of burnout going on in this set that led to someone carelessly putting, I don't know why there'd be a real bullet on the set, but regardless, something incorrect in the gun, if there was a lapse in judgment that was connected to burnout, this hits directly at the core of what is going on with that Hollywood strike. And we do not know if that Hollywood strike is happening or not. Managers still need to vote on the contract. The contract isn't even released. We don't get the contract till tomorrow. It has been almost a week and I can't even really give you details about what's going on because no one has seen this full document yet. People are pissed off about the IATSE strike and they're pissed off. Go look at IA's stories like I've told you to do each week on this. People are pissed off that they have to put themselves in dangerous positions, whether it is driving home to your family at 5 o'clock in the morning because you have been working for over a day, whether it is skipping entire meals for an entire day amount of period, or just being called in on a Friday to then not even being able to go home until later on a Saturday. Just total. There's a breakdown between understanding why you get bad quality work from working people so long, and people in the film industry have a love for the craft, and you burn people out, then you get carelessness. This is such a tragic story, and if carelessness was the reason, we are already heading back to the negotiating table and with this strike. And if a strike comes back up, something like this has the potential to motivate people more so than they already were before. Like before I was going to come on here and do this show today, there was almost no news to talk about because the strike was not happening. This story does while it's firstly tragic, this story also has the potential to blow up a powder keg that is sitting there just waiting for like the tiniest spark. Right now, I think people are still in shock that something like this could happen. Going forward, I think people are going to, in the industry, get more and more pissed off the more that we hear, the more irresponsibility there is. And right now, people are putting the blame on this production company in and of itself. And I feel like that doesn't feel totally fair either. I feel like there's got to be some changes in the way that Hollywood does some things. I feel like this is an example of it. Kind of like if you watch Chernobyl. Did you see Chernobyl? How the whole point of that is that yes, there are problems with the technical, machinery that's going on. The bigger problem, though, is that there is a culture of toxicity, and by toxicity, I mean just total disregard for basic levels of human need, getting sleep, accountability, making sure that someone's job is well defined. If you don't have stuff like that, then yes, eventually someone is going to have a loaded prop gun, and it's just thoughts and prayers to the family. Very, very sad. And hopefully things get resolved swiftly, and whatever issues this is going to bring up, hopefully those get brought up and dealt with swiftly as well. Okay, moving on to Netflix, something less totally depressing. So Netflix is saying that they are going to start reporting on the hours watched of all of those their shows. I didn't realize this, but with streaming, do you know that you can actually get a streamer number? You can get a view if you watch 2 minutes of a show. I've been wanting to check out that movie C with Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa on Apple Plus, but I don't know, it just doesn't look that good. But if I were to watch 2 minutes of it, then Apple TV would count me as a viewer of the entire show. And it's kind of confusing whenever it comes to streaming services, how much of what we're seeing, like how do we know something's really popular? If you can tell me that I've watched so much stuff for 2 minutes, who hasn't watched stuff for 2 minutes and you flip it off because of most of the time, whenever you're watching something by yourself, that's kind of the regimen you go through before you find something that clicks, or you're running out of time, you just have to watch something. So, and like stuff whenever Space Jam came out, whenever Godzilla versus Kong came out, and people were saying they're not watching it in the theaters because the pandemic's going on. They're watching it at home, so it's doing well because people just watch it at home. I feel like this needs to happen. We need to know, hey, how long are people actually watching your shit? Because if they aren't putting that out there, then we have no idea what's actually popular, and they can just lie about it. And it's confusing then because it's like how Apple was saying that they get 40 million viewers a few months ago, but then whenever they were pushed because of the union thing, they're like, nah, 20, it doesn't matter. You don't have to really know. So I'm happy that Netflix is releasing this. Like, for just some numbers, Bridgerton was watched for 625 million hours. Who the hell is watching that thing? Okay, look, I was there whenever, my girl was watching Bridgerton. I was there. I was along for the ride. I can't believe, though, that so many people watch that so many people watch Bridgerton. I still find that astounding. And I can't really talk too much shit because I also watched it. But it's still weird. Bird Box, I never saw that one. That's the most watched movie at 282 million hours. This kind of broke through because of Squid Game, though. It was a show that came out of South Korea, so you're not really expecting a ton of people to watch it here in America. But then everyone starts watching it. Everyone is watching Squid Game to the point that it started to become its own story of how much people were watching that show. And so Netflix, I think it kind of bridged, like this was kind of the perfect, I guess it was going to happen eventually. It was the perfect bridge to extend to the audience in order to say, hey, you're interested in how much people are watching our streaming service? Guess what? It's more than anyone else. It's more than Disney. It's more than Apple. It's more than Hulu, which I would only assume is true. But now we can actually see. I hope everyone else follows suit in this. That would be. I feel like if anyone's going to follow suit, then it's going to be HBO Max. And they actually had a announcement. I don't know when this announcement was this week, but they actually made an announcement about their day and day release because I've been having different thoughts about that, about HBO Max's day and day release. Yes, it was a part. I don't know if it was a good thing that they did it because there was a problem and we needed movies, or if it made movies a little bit redundant because it made it so that people were able to just watch movies in their home. I don't think it was a good idea in the end. And I think it pissed a lot of people off. Okay, the way that they announced it was terrible. And they rightly lost Christopher Nolan over not telling the creatives that they were going to put their movies on TV. But anyway, the statement they made about day and day releases in 2022, We are going to go to a 45-day window, and we'll have a slate that goes to theaters exclusively and another slate that drives HBO Max. And then, post theater exclusivity, the movies will come on HBO Max in the next window. That will boost HBO Max as well. It will be a different kind of cadence, but on an equally impactful one. So, and it was, I bought my ticket to see Dune 2 days ago. Very pumped to go and see that tomorrow. But it is a shame to open up HBO Max and see that it's right fucking there. It shouldn't be there. It really lessens it lessens the story even. It does. It's a weird thing the way that you watch a movie. Like if you have a bad day at work and you're going to go see the new Quentin Tarantino movie, that is going to change the way that you watch whatever movie you're going to see. And releasing movies on TV at the same time you're releasing them in theaters, I think honestly changes them. There's that line in the Coen Brothers movie, The Man Who Wasn't There, wherever his lawyer says that the more that you look at something, the more you're looking actually changes what it is that you're seeing, because every time you go back to it, you get different information, and different information changes your perspective, which in the end can change a story, it can change a narrative, it can change anything. And in a way, the HBO Max thing is kind of like that. It's going in to watch a movie, paying premium prices, paying $20 to go and see Dune in the theater, knowing that someone paid $15 for a streaming service back home to watch the same damn thing. It totally changes how you are experiencing everything. I don't know about you. Whenever I watch a movie in the theater, those first few seconds I feel like are the most important part, because if they fuck up the intro, it's not that they fuck it up. If the intro to a movie gets you into the story, and by intro I mean like the first few seconds, like the title card. If they get you into the movie in a way that makes you feel like you connect with it instantly, I feel like that is the best way emotionally to tell if you're watching something that you're going to enjoy. And part of that, I think, is that you have taken the time, you've taken the effort, you have taken you have the dedication to go and watch this movie that was created by an entire crew of professionals, and you're going to watch it in the best way possible because you've got that respect for the storytelling, you've got that respect for the medium. And if you go in to watch something that you know that a Cheeto encrusted fat man is watching back at his home because he went to bed too late the day before because he was watching Squid Game, and he just decided to roll over the next day, not go into work, and watch Dune and smoke another blunt, then there's something just kind of shitty knowing that that is going on while you are taking the time to go and watch Dune somewhere. And you know what? If there are people out there that have the feeling, and we know that these are the people with children, if there are people out there that have the feeling of, why can't we just stay home? Excuse you. Why can't we just stay home and watch we would like to stay home and watch our movie. Can we just stay home and watch our movie? We don't want to have to go into the theater, do all this stuff. It's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. I would say perfect. You now have the 45-day window. It's coming back to you. Hooray. That's going to be great. But I think it's time to get back. Like, we need to be done with the HBO Max day and day release thing. I'm happy that's done in 2022. I would love it if we could get pressure, though, to get them to roll that back a little bit and not have this happen to the new Matrix movie. I think it's already going to suck with the new Dune movie. Although the executives, when asked this week, is there going to be a sequel because the movie kind of ends in a way that makes it feel like there's going to be a sequel, they responded, if you have watched Dune, then you have an idea of what we're planning to do. So that means yes. From the money men, that means yes. And so while Dune, I think, is safe and we don't have to have this concern of, are we going to get a sequel? We're going to get a sequel. I'm waiting for the article to drop confirming that, but we're going to get a sequel to Dune regardless of how it does at the box office, it seems. But it still sucks that you can feel that the exclusivity, the notoriety, the enjoyment of watching an event movie like Dune is being crushed by HBO Max. Don't watch it on HBO Max. Please don't watch it on HBO Max. Okay, moving on to trailers. Trailers from the week. Okay, we'll start with the pretty good one, and then we'll go to the awesome one. The Tragedy of Macbeth. I did not go see The Tragedy of Macbeth at the New York Film Festival, and I'm very happy that I have not. I really like having to wait for something. I was almost there was part of me that was kind of excited when we had to wait another year for Dune because it was kind of like, oh, that's just so much hype. Like I feel like if you have hype but you don't give into watching every trailer, every TV spot, reading every review, reading every analysis. Oh, what's this? Dude, ableist, elitist, not everyone can make it to the theater. Do better. Oh, well, I'm gonna come back to that in a second. Trailers. Right. Okay. Tragedy of Macbeth. There was a chance to see it at the New York Film Festival, did not go. It seemed like there's something about kind of getting to see something before everyone else that kind of kills the vibe. It kills the excitement. It kills. I think there's a place for hype. I feel like we down hype a lot, and I feel like that's unfair. But Tragedy of Macbeth trailer looks incredible. Back, I guess, another Coen Brothers thing. He seems to also working on his own. He is actually bringing. I didn't even think about this. He is bringing that vibe from The Man Who Knew Too Much, or sorry, no, The Man Who Wasn't There. The black and white noir style, but bringing it to a a feeling of Shakespearean epic storytelling. And I'm very excited to see that. The trailer seems to have a minimalist style, and I think that is something to look out for. It's a Christmas movie, so I'm so excited that we're getting that for Christmas. Before I go on to the next one, because I really want to give my full attention to this. So, okay, J. Cash McNeil in the chat says, dude, ableist and elitist. First of all, a movie ticket costs about $20. Not everyone can make it to the theater. Do better. That is totally incorrect. First of all, I'm going to say in my circle, everyone that likes to stay at home and watch movies does it because they don't want to go to the theater and watch it. They're perfectly able to do so on their own. For the person like that is in that position, which is the person I was talking about, and you know that, they do not have a respect of going to the theater. And there is a level of respect that the theater demands. And there's a level of respect that exists. So you can't act like it doesn't. People like that, perfectly fine. They have no right to complain over when it is that they get to see a movie because they don't want to put the work into actually going to see a movie. Okay. I guess, does that cover the, well, as far as elitist too, go see a movie in IMAX. It's $20. What's going on there? If paying $20 to see a movie in IMAX is an elitist thing, I have no idea. But at that point, you're probably using someone else's streaming password. So that's also pretty elitist, I would say. Then as far as the ableist, if you're still watching, tell me what you mean by that, because it's very easy to get around in movie theaters. I myself, I have a handicapped family member who goes to the theater more than I do. He demands that he goes to the theater. That one, I'd like to hear more about that, because from what I said, because I'm kind of reading through back what I said, I don't think I said anything that was ableist at all. They also have those seats right at the front. I don't even use those seats. Those handicap seats look awesome. So, J. Cash McNeil, I would say that's a lazy criticism, and just go see a movie. Lay back, man. Be cool. Okay, the other one, The Batman. This trailer, I've watched this trailer about 10 times now. From a technical standpoint, I think this might be one of the best trailers that I have seen in an incredibly long time. It's about 2 minutes, 40 seconds long. And it introduces you to a huge variety of characters. And while doing so, it never gives away any of the story. And what I love most about it, it takes its time to introduce all the characters and the mood. It opens, the first 30 seconds are only 4 shots. Like, that amount of pacing, the way that the music ramps up, you get like 3 music changes throughout the entire trailer. I feel if the movie itself takes the amount of care that trailer did to evoke a mood, then I think we're going to be in very, very good hands. And I'm very excited. It's March 4th, 2022. Okay, and then reviews of the week. Be sure to subscribe to 5 Minute Critic. We have got a review out today of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm actually going to be in Texas this weekend, about 40 minutes outside of the gas station from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I've been thinking about whether I probably won't have time to do it, but I'll be near the gas station. So if I'm able to, I'll go and sneak a picture of that. And then No Time to Die is going to drop on Tuesday. Again, please go see that in IMAX. IMAX is absolutely, without a doubt, the best way to see a movie. J. Cash McNeil, if you don't think so, then that doesn't really bother me too much. And wait, stop. No, put Alec Baldwin in jail is in the chat. Great Texas Chainsaw video. Thank you very much, Alec. Although I would say right now, I think you might have more important things to do, more important meetings to be in, based on everything that's going on with you right now. That's hilarious, man. Uh, one thing that amazes me about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, and I actually haven't seen all of the second one. I stopped after about half an hour. The second Texas Chainsaw Massacre, could there be is there a sequel that is more wildly different than the original? It does not even feel like it takes place in the same world, and it's made by the same freaking director. I have not even heard an interview with Toby Hooper about what went on in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel, but man, the fact that that thing exists is weird. But okay, No Time to Die is, I will actually not say anything about it until you can watch the review. It'll come out on Tuesday. Definitely watch it in IMAX. As far as the next Bond, though, because we all know that the ink has dried. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, I'm sorry, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. James Bond is now going to be passed on to a new actor. And I would say if I had to go with kind of a lesser known name, I would go with Dev Patel. I think The Green Knight actually recently kind of showed that he can do stoicism in a way that is both very action driven, fits in with the James Bond action macho character, but also have the level of vulnerability that Daniel Craig had and juggle those because some of the offerings that people give for the next James Bond are so sissy. But okay, a few other big options. For me, if I had to do the top three options, it would be Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, and then it would be Dev Patel. The one person that I was really wanting to do it, but then I thought about it more, and it was Michael Fassbender. I love Michael Fassbender. If I have to pick someone who is going to reliably give me a great performance no matter what they're in, something worth watching, it would be Michael Fassbender. I think he does an incredible job in everything that he's in. But I think he does have too much of a sissiness about him. Even whenever he played Magneto, he had the cunningness, but he kind of had the cunningness of like, I don't know. It was the cunningness of like a Hannibal Lecter type, and I just don't think that is. He's too much of a creepy villain to fit in with the James Bond type, and I think that also comes out in his stoicism as well. Kind of like Inglourious Basterds. There's a little bit of like a you're a weirdo, and I don't think he's got enough machismo to be James Bond. Put Alec Baldwin in jail. Asks. Nate, have I seen Lamb yet? I have not seen Lamb. I have not gotten a chance to actually go down the street and see that. I really want to see Lamb. I hope that A24 pulls off what it is that they're promising that they're going to be able to do. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for that. But no, I haven't been able. Have you? How is it? I'd be interested to hear how it is if you've seen it. Okay, and one thing I wanted to try doing. This is a quote of the day. It's been a little bit of a long. It's about a paragraph from Tarkovsky. And okay, he says, my objective is to create my own world, and these images which we create mean nothing more than the images which they are. We have forgotten how to relate emotionally to art. We treat it like editors, searching in it for that which the artist has supposedly hidden. It is actually much simpler than that. Otherwise, art would have no meaning. You have to be a child. Incidentally, children understand my pictures very well, and I have not met a serious critic who could stand knee-high to those children. We think that art demands special knowledge. We demand some higher meaning from an author, but the work must act directly on our hearts, or it has no meaning at all. And then juxtaposing that from another incredible quote from Mark Kermode, trust the tale, not the teller. I've actually seen the film. He was just in it. And he said that responding to Antichrist, actually, Willem Dafoe, because they disagreed on what was going on in the movie. I read that earlier this week, and I love that so much. There's kind of cynicism in critics with Hollywood. I think you're seeing a lot with the Dave Chappelle special thing, because if you see the wide disparity between what the critics think and what the audience thinks, there's a real condescension, I think, in how people talk to the audience now. And I think you have to, and I think you see that also from filmmakers whenever they say that you don't have the right to critique a movie because you've never made one. I think a lot of times, if you're watching a movie and you feel like you don't feel like you can exactly say that you hate it, and because a lot of movies have a very weird message nowadays, just don't be afraid to voice your opinion of any and every single movie you watch, because you have more right than anyone else to have an opinion. We'll end it off here with Alec Baldwin's review of Lamb. He says, I've seen Lamb, no comment. Well, there you go. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone that tuned in. It means a lot for the people that do tune in, the people that watch, even J. Cash McNeil, who seems to be trying to score some point with an audience that is not there. But have a great weekend. I will see you next week. And please subscribe to 5 Minute Critic for future updates on reviews and movie news.